Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hanging Out with Howie. I have two of my very good friends with me. To my right, my road dog, good friend, and all around awesome DJ, John Cawley from Boston.
How you doing, Howie?
And last but not least, the traveling Mr. Jay Brannon.
What's up, Howie?
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Now, here is tonight's hot topic, so to speak. And I saw this, and I can't remember which forum, but it was really quite contentious. Do you allow guests to help you load or unload your gear or strike your gear?
No. Sorry.
Not going in, but I've had help going out. If I've got the cart, which things, usually it's 2 trips, but if someone's heading towards the door, they want to lump a few things across the floor, I'd just say, just leave them in the doorway. I'll be right over. I haven't in a while because the setup's a little different than some of the stuff I was carrying back in the day. But
yeah, that was 10 years ago now that I stopped allowing people to help. And it was nothing really bad other than I was in a field and the parking lot was like 200 feet away, and I had the rock and roll cart and I'm loading that, and 10 guys come up, and it was a civic organization. They volunteered to do other things. And so they were like, hey man, well, they just picked stuff up, and they said, we'll take it to your truck. I go, okay, do me a favor, just leave it sit by the side of the truck and I'll put it in. Well, by the time I had my rock and roll cart loaded and drug across the grass, they actually, were, kind-heartedly loaded my truck for me. But we all do Tetris.
Yes.
And they loaded the truck, and I couldn't fit anything else in because of the way that they loaded the truck. So I wound up doing double work and unloading the truck and then Tetrising everything in so I could close the damn tailgate. Yep. And that was the last time. And I always, I'm always very polite. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. I'll take care of it. Now, the other thing, which I was hoping Bill Marsh would be here for this, because he's really up on insurance stuff and whatnot, is like, what about the liability? What about the liability, dudes?
Insurance never wants to pay. It's this weird game of, you give me your money and I'll ensure that I'll cover your stuff, but read the fine print. So, example, I had a big wedding this past Saturday, and it was very EDM. And going into it, I knew this would be the case. But the groom, towards the end of the planning phase, said, hey, one of my friends is a DJ in LA. He'll be there. Can he jump on and do a set? And I initially said no. And I said, yeah, I'm really not comfortable with that. It's my gig. It's my contract. And I was at a loss because he asked in a very genuinely nice way. He's a good friend. He doesn't drink. He'll be respectful. He uses the same gear. He didn't set me up to lose. And he goes, it's up to you though. But I just wanted to put it out there. It would mean a lot to my wife and I, and it was a lot of come and goes. Like, hey, it would mean a lot to us, but it's up to you, Jay. But it would really mean the world to me. He's a special friend, but I don't want you to be uncomfortable. That back and forth you get. And that's exactly what I used. I said, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. My insurance won't cover any damage. If anything were to happen and I make a claim and there's video, which there will be because you have a videographer and cameras and Instagram and TikTok and everything else, if my insurance sees somebody else in the gear and there's a problem or something breaks or who knows what goes south, I have a wedding the next day. I said, if my gear breaks under my watch, that's my problem. If it breaks under his watch, now it's still my problem, but it's my problem 10 times over. And he was really cool about it. And just real quick, I very, kind of obnoxiously said no to do you let people help? I get this at almost every wedding. Every wedding I get somebody saying,
Everyone.
Hey man, you want some help getting out of here? You want some help getting in here?
Everyone.
And I always just say, hey man, thanks. I'm only going to take 2 trips. I appreciate the offer. And I'm running around. Last night, 4th wedding in a row, I'm running around. Grooms, buddies were like, hey man, you need some help grabbing the lights? I'm like, no man, I got it. You guys go party with the bride and groom. Thanks so much for your help. It's not a negative in the way of I can do it myself. You know, don't question me. It's more a matter of just what you said, Howie. You know what? God forbid they grab a light and drop it and it breaks. It's a $300 freedom par.
Right. They've been partying it to them.
Hey, you owe me $300.
You know, they've been partying. We've been being good, and they trip and fall and smash something. It's
their job at the wedding is to have a good time. My job is to be careful, give a party, but it's my gear and my responsibility. I agree with you about the Tetris thing. A couple times I've had a quick loadout where somebody has said, hey man, we're going to grab those 2 speakers. And it's been like, you know what, man, thank you. Just take them by the handle, meet me at the door, that kind of thing. But it's like you said, Howie, it's been, I couldn't tell you when it happened. It's been 8, 9, 10 years too.
The only thing that I say yes to is, can I get the door for you? Oh, yeah, you can hold the door. But I
don't think there's malice. I don't think people ask us.
No, I don't think so either. No. But what if? I mean, you know, we live in a litigious society. A guy goes, "Oh my God, man, I didn't know the speaker was that heavy. My back hurts." And
he's going to sue you.
And he gets an ambulance chaser, says, I can get you money. I mean, every night, there's nothing. I'll see 4 or 5 different ads from these lawyers. Like, we're the biggest lawyer. We can get you money, trip and fall, whatever.
Well, it's going to affect the overall performance, because it's going to start to affect the overall, how do I do this and stay safe? I mean, I use the Evolve 50s, which are a sub with a thin plastic pole and then a top. I'm now going to invest the money in a black facade, probably, instead of white, just because I think it'll look cleaner, believe it or not, because the white I've got to light up. But a black facade that I will have to put in front of my table and my speakers, because I need to do all I can to make sure that they're clearly out of harm's way. And even if a facade doesn't appear to be that much of a barrier, it's a lot more than thin air.
It's psychological, where it's
those are behind that. That's not where I'm supposed to go. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys have done this too. I used to do school events 10, 15 years ago, where I would put caution tape. I would have the speaker poles a little in front of me, and I would have caution tape running in front of me from pole to pole, and it bright yellow, black caution, like PD tape, just so people would know. Because I'm dealing with K through 5. These kids aren't sometimes smart.
Kids may not. Adults would.
Adults would, but kids don't.
Because we're trained that way. You ever go to a bank and they have the stanchion lines that make like 6 wraparounds? There isn't a soul in the building, and you still walk the thing like a hamster.
Like an idiot.
Down the trail, right?
I had a woman the other night. I'm on this big table, and if you watch the video I put up on Facebook or Instagram, I'm on this custom-made big table. Then there's about 3 feet on either side of me. There's a Chauvet Freedom Par, and then an Evolve 50, and there's cables running between everything, from the Evolve to my lighting box, from the speaker, the power to my rig. And this woman literally takes the 9-inch crack and steps through, and I'm like, whoa, be careful.
Whoa, yeah.
And I didn't yell at her in the respects of like, don't you do that. I was like, whoa, be careful. There's cables. I don't want you to trip. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to tell you something. I like, you're doing such a great job. I'm like, I really appreciate that. But see all this flagstone? If you were to trip, you'd fall face first into it. I don't want to see you get hurt. Trying to turn it from a don't walk between my gear,
like I'm looking out for you.
Into I'm looking out for you. It's like when people come up. I mean, guys, how many times do we get this? Doing a great job, bro. Cheers. It's like, whoa. This is my electronics and laptop and rig, please. And they look at you like, I didn't realize. What? Go home and throw a dryer in the bathtub and tell me how that works. What didn't you realize? But again, it's the mentality. So I've come to the conclusion that some sort of a barrier that allows me to be seen, but yet me to be covered. This isn't EDC. I don't need to be on a 30-foot riser with water effects. But I think if I had something Just anything that gave a separation between the public and the gear.
Yeah, even though we used the facade, we were on that big stage and used the facade, at Beret, that was still a separation. And especially if you're on the same ground level, it's 5 panels, and I can even hide the tripods. Actually, it's only one tripod because the other one is the sub. Just my opinion, you only need one sub for 150 person wedding. But as far as they know, they just see 2 speakers. It looks elegant. And it's like there is no 18-inch space or 9-inch space for someone to slide through, because it's happened to me where people did that way back in the day. And I was like, man, no, I'm getting that 5-panel facade. Whether or not some young kid says they're out of fashion, they still look elegant.
Yeah. What I hear too, remember, put flowers along the top row because no one will lean where there's flowers.
Remember that?
I think that was your tip, right?
I did buy that because I do these summer things and they'll come up and they'll lean on. I'm like, so what I did was I actually put the flowers on, and I got several different colors just in case they have a theme color. And there's little clips, and they just clip on, and it's flowers, and people, they're not going to go up and squish the flower on.
They're delicate. You can't touch that. Yeah.
It's like, they're not going to lean it. They think, they're plastic, but they look real enough.
Yeah, it's a psychological trick again.
Maybe I shouldn't lean on this.
Well, you look at what we used to do. I mean, I watch old videos of DJs at street parties. I mean, there's an old Jazzy Jeff in Philadelphia. I'm not saying the crowd's near him. I'm saying the crowd is almost leaning on the table. They're butting up to his table, and he's just like casually typing in Serato, mixing, doing his thing. Mm-hmm. And I look back on some events I've done with, in a small room, not small, like let's say 50 by 30 with 600 people in it, like literally 600 people dancing. And I'm on a 6-foot table in the corner. Like there's nothing. Like if 10 people fell, everything I own would go to pot.
Going on the floor. Yep.
You didn't think twice about it then. Now it's just different because I think there is, and I don't know how to say this in a way that doesn't come off sounding snobby or derogatory. It somehow appears to me that people under a certain age don't understand where they are in a space. It's sort of like they'll come talk to you and they're right here. There's no sense of personal space anymore. You know what I mean? Like people come up to my table. They have no issue like putting a glass of wine or themselves over my equipment. I would never think to go to somebody's workspace and lean over their laptop or over the fryer that makes the, hash browns for my Egg McMuffin, where most of these people probably work, and then have a discussion. But it seems as a DJ, people are very free to go in and over our gear. And I think it's only to the betterment of the event to cover things up. I don't ever want to, say to a client, hey, I'm really sorry, but your drunk idiot friend just wiped everything out. So I'm going to go home and you owe me money and I'm going to sue you. Like, so what, if everything's worked well till now, it's very easy to argue then don't change. But I think we don't live in those days anymore. This isn't one-to-one anymore. This is a lot of confusion. And I think the better we can make things apparent, like please don't come here, I think the better for the client and the event.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's that psychological barrier that says, you know what, maybe I should just, talk to the person like a human being or come around the side, where I'm not going to trip on anything.
Right. And I don't want it. I don't want it straight. I want it, X amount high in front of the speakers and then lower in front of my table. Because not for vanity's sake, but I genuinely want you to see what I'm doing. I just don't want, I want it to be an inch lower than my case. So you look at me and say, he's mixing on that board. But yet the speakers and the edge of the table they're this high and I'm this high. So it would go straight this way, then up and out. So the speakers would be better covered. The table would be better covered. But
that sounds like a custom job there then.
Yeah, it would be, because I don't want you to walk between anything. I don't want you to get too close to anything. But I also feel it's an obligation that you see what I'm actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not a vanity thing. It's not a show off thing, but I'm working. And the way I accomplish it at the venue the other night is they have a table that's very tall. I mean, I'm 6'1.5", and it's tall. It's so tall, one of the other DJs that works there stands on a 2-foot box.
Wow.
Because he's like 5'3". So he's got to get way up to come down to his gear. Which, yeah, this table's very, very tall.
Well, how did it work for you? Because you're a tall guy.
It worked great for me. And it's actually, to be completely honest, if I had my way, I'd make the table probably 3 or 4 inches shorter. That's how tall the table is. Oh, yeah. It's sitting on 2 full wine barrels. So it's tall.
Yeah.
But the benefit is no one gets near the table because it's got a presence. I mean, it's this big, I'll find a photo later and, you'll get to see. But when you see the videos I make, I'm not shooting down at all. I'm shooting straight at the audience, and you see the gear almost eye level.
Well, John, you just did, you worked at an Irish bar this past week. Did you find, people offering to help or getting way too close to you?
This place has a built-in booth. So there's only one door to get to where I'm at. So it's pretty protected. People, it's a lot of energy, and we're throwing a lot of hype music at them quick. So there's really no place for requests. They didn't have anyone coming up with drinks or anything. But when I did play in bars on the 6-foot table at the same height as the crowd, the words that work, because the one person who comes up is going to be the same person 8 times. If they get a request, they're going to come back. You just say, hey, the skit's wet. Party's over. We all go home early. We don't want that, right? And you just approach it in a calm way. So you're not saying, don't be a jerk and bring that over here.
Yeah, no, you can't be aggressive.
No.
You got to be and it's got to be to their protection. I've even gone so far as to say, hey, whoa. I can't have drinks over here. And do you really need to spill that? Come on. How much you pay for that thing? Dude, thanks for looking out. So you're welcome.
That's the Boston vibe. Oh, I got you, man. I understand.
I got you, buddy.
Still, I forget 15 minutes from now, but I understand.
Yeah. 15 seconds is more like it.
No, I've done that too. It's like, dude, how much was that drink? What, 10, 12 bucks? Yeah. I go, do you really want to lose that? I mean,
what are you saying? I'm poor? You want to go out back?
I see the waitress comes around here a lot. She's going to take that.
And they'll be like, what do you mean? I go, dude, you can hear the bass, you can hear the thumping. You think setting that on my equipment that it's not going to spill, and you're out $12. And they're like, whoa, thanks for looking out, bro. And
well, we've always given them a place, and that's the downside. I mean, on a regular 6-foot table at a gig, it just is screaming, oh, I got a drink. I'm on the dance floor. Here you go. Yeah. Their brain is telling them, do the right thing, put your drink down. Versus, and again, this venue the other night, they have 6 full barrels around the dance floor area that are not only promoted for drinks, but it's almost a magnet. 99.999% of the time. People put their drinks there.
Any flat surface is a magnet for setting.
No, that's our job, is not to give them any flat surfaces. Oh, no. Look over there. Nope.
You know the way the Evolve 50s are? The tops, the bottom of the subs, the top of the subs is kind of angled. I had a woman last week put her purse on it. So I took her purse off and put it on the ground next to it. And she goes, hey. I said, hey. That's a $1,600 speaker that I can't afford to have anything on. And whatever's in your purse, it's going to be on the floor in a second anyway. Oh, I didn't realize. I'm like, yeah, you did. How did you not realize?
You did.
That's what you want to say. But I'm like, and this was what came out of my mouth. I don't know if your phone's in there or not. I'm just looking out for you. Now they've got to argue a point of being nice. And 100% of the time they won't. Yeah.
Hey, if that vibrates off and hits the ground,
and it's going
I'm sorry for you,
And it will. It will. Those things come.
And the other thing is this, whether it's good or bad, I don't care. Put your, say whatever you want in the comments. If I'm wrong, It's briansred@gmail.com. That's how you can reach me.
I have a YouTubeChannel.com.
Yeah, go there, comment, and if you want to get my attention, hit dislike. Don't hit like, because that's everybody. But here's the thing: I never give the drinks back. You leave a drink on my table, it's gone. I'm not picking it up, going, "Excuse me, miss, I'm going to put your drink." No, I take it and I put it somewhere else. And if you turn around and look for it while I'm in the middle of trying to mix a track, I'm not going to tell you where it went. And that's 100% rule of mine. If you think this hard drive, laptop, and controller, this little space this big, is where your drink goes, that's on you, not me. So I've always taken drinks off and I put them over there. Now, over there, there's drinks. If you want your drink, you got to go over there.
Yeah, go find it.
Go find it and hope nobody put anything in it.
But that's the whole thing, and it's,
I
it's
do
one
that
of these
too.
weird things.
If I can catch them, I will say something, please don't do that. Whether or not you realize it, there's just on this table, there's $20,000 and, please, and they, "Oh, I am so sorry." But you'll get the occasional, like if you bathroom break or you're turned to the side talking to somebody and somebody's like, "Oh man, this is my jam." And you turn around and there's a drink there. It's like, I'm doing what you did, Jay.
I just take it and move it. If I see that,
nearest table.
Yeah, I'm the same as you, Harry. If I see them going for it, I just go, "Hey, the electronics." I'm not even going to get into the dollars explanation. I make it so to be as non-aggressive as I can about. Yeah. And hey, all the electronics, the liquid. "Oh man, so sorry. Thank you. And the same thing. I've never gotten a negative response from somebody. Nobody's ever been like, "Yeah, so what, man? My drink's going there." Because it's also in my contract that if through malicious intent or fault, your audience decides to mess my gear up, I'm done. That's in the contract and the client signed it. So it's always never been a bone of contention. And I've always maintained with my clients, without having to say it, if I have a problem with one of your guests, if it comes down to there's a real issue, I'm going to go to you and I'm going to tell you either the guest is going to leave or I'm going to leave. Mm-hmm. And obviously that's the biggest nightmare you could have as a DJ at an event, especially a wedding or something. But I think it oftentimes comes down to the pre-planning, hence why I always want to speak to somebody. Now it's different after COVID where we get hired on the phone, we get hired through email. But man, I miss the days of being able to sit in front of you and say, "Man, I'm not a good fit for this." Because I can already tell your brother's on parole, your mom's on probation. I don't want to be your DJ. And everyone goes like, because let's be honest, not every event is mine.
No, well,
events are different, but it's the worst fear I have is getting to the event where I've never met you. And understand, I did 4 events this weekend, gratefully, blessed and thankful.
Yeah.
And I had not met one of them. I met one of them. Thursday night I met, the night I had to play, and it was fun. 2 insane clown posses. Did the chop chop slide, and the bride says, "Right up to the murder time." I'm like, okay, so I put a cue mark where he goes, "Okay, some of you still don't get it, so I guess we got to take out the gun and kill somebody." And it was right there where I cut the song and went into like a Tech 9 track. But the other 2 weddings I hadn't met, but I had phone calls with them, and I had built a relationship with the other 3 clients enough that there was a trust, and they understood one simple fact: I was there to make their night great. So I became as important as their guests, if not more important, and I confidently felt that if there was an issue, they would have taken my side of it because I was being paid, I was helping them, I was giving them direction and guidance, and it's that relationship which ultimately I think helps. Because even though something as simple as, "Hey, don't put your drink there," that can turn into somebody getting shot. You know what I mean? In the wrong place at the wrong time, not at a wedding, not with a DJ, but
right.
I think always using not only common sense, but you know what? Sometimes you got to suck it up. And sometimes you got to just say, hey, no, I understand you feel you can put your drink there, but the electronics. Oh, okay, that I can understand.
Well, and the other thing is like, hey, if that spills, there's no music for the rest of the night. We don't want that, do we? You know, that's kind. And
no, it is.
Oh, but it's like spills and you don't see it, and then you get a puddle chasing the electrical cord down to the outlet, and all of a sudden something goes off. You know?
I wish I could give you this is what I've learned in 25, 26 years. This is the perfect answer. But I really can't, because I've given a million answers.
It's always different each time.
It really
depending
is.
on the person, but I always try to do it in a positive, kind way. I'm like you were saying, hey, I'm looking out for you. Yeah, I didn't want your phone because it's going to fall off. I don't want your phone to break, you know. Oh, wow. This guy is looking out for me. That's cool.
I mean, this might be off topic, but you know, Brian's not here to reel me back in. So
Jay's going off. Wait, did you hear that correctly, John? Jeez.
Oh Lord!
I'm just trying to. The spirit of Brian is in the room.
Like, we got to go back 4 paragraphs so I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just put it this way: if I was Johnny Depp's lawyer, he would have already been found not guilty and been out of court. So I'm just saying, Johnny, try this stunt. Start talking about about 21 Jump Street. What, really?
Right. Yeah.
The jury will love it. But this was one of the things I said in a prior show about showing up and making friends with the wedding party. I go out of my way to get the names. I've already got the list of names. So when I walk in the room, if I can go, all right, who's Howie, who's Jay, who's John, and who's Brian? And they all start raising hands. There's this sense of like, oh, who's this guy? All right, guys, I'm Jay. I'm the DJ. I'm going to introduce you later. I got a couple quick things. I'm going to remind you, because I can't remember if I told you, but I know I told you. Guys, phones on airplane are turned off because it can interfere with the microphone. So I'd really appreciate it. I want Miguel and Lauren to have the best wedding ceremony ever. And I don't want mics cutting out due to something like a signal. We're in a valley. Oh, man, thanks. Good looking out. And if I can show them that I'm making the groom or the bride happy, if I can show them that I'm making these people feel good, they've now got my back. So I just went from out of 150 people, 2 people have my back, to out of 150 people, 15 people now have my back. They're my buddy. So if I say, hey, Josh, dude, who's this guy? Oh, man, that's the groom's cousin. He's my cousin, too. I'm like, man, he's really wasted and he's kind of getting crazy. Oh, dude, man, I'll take care of it, man. Thanks for letting me know. I'm like, yeah. I don't want to see any problems later. It's weddings and events become relationships.
You make a good point about the phones, because it happened to me where people have individual ringtones for different people, and the phone goes off, and it's Grace Jones. Back it up to the bumper during the freaking ceremony. And everybody, they were, oh my God, the guy was mortified, I'm like, turn this off.
Great song. Like, I'll play that later.
Everybody was laughing, and here his phone is playing Back It Up to the Bumper. And I'm like, what? Okay.
And it's very funny when it happens. And I've told this to wedding parties almost 100% of the time. Plus, if your phone goes off, it'll be really funny until the bride talks to you later. And with a tear in her eye, I guarantee the humor will be gone. And they look at you like, oh. I'm like, this isn't about ruining her day, is it? No. Great. There's a lot of those pre-things that we can do as DJs to really strengthen that relationship. Even, I did a birthday party a couple months ago. I was good friends with I'd made a deal to call the client at 6:00 on like a Tuesday or something. And I'm sitting here in my chair and it's 5:59 and I dialed her phone number. And the second my phone clicked 6, I hit dial. And she answered and I said, hi, Darlene, this is Jay Brand. How are you? Good. Oh my God, it's exactly 6:00. I said, this is a good time, right? No, we planned on 6:00. I'm just kind of, wow, you called exactly at 6:00. I'm like, that was the plan. She's like, wow, I'm just used to people being 5-10 minutes late. I'm like, nope, not here.
Nope.
And that started the relationship. By the time I got to the event, we were kind of friendly-ish. So she was really happy with everything. And I made everyone understand when she came up with the 3 girlfriends who had requests in front of her, I made everyone feel like I was working for their friend. That's a relationship that I think you will find carries you a long way. Again, a little bit off. I got an email the other day from a July 4th wedding last year, and the bride said, I feel so bad. I never reached out to tell you. We had the most amazing day. And she gave me like 8 bullet points of what she loved about the day.
Oh, that's great.
Because I'm so ashamed I didn't get in touch with you sooner. And I'm like, no, because they live where I live. So I see her husband like about 3 days a week walking the dog. And he's like, hey, Jay. I'm like, oh, hey, DJ, say hi to Melinda. Like, but she just realized she hadn't reached out. And here we are almost a full year later. And, this is where we will do well in the future because people remember. And that's why, you've got to be on top of these things, guys. Don't sweat. I've got cool sparks and I've got cool fog and I'm not cool like Jay and I can't do the vape CO2 tank. No, not everyone can. But always remember, what we do is about relationships. It's about music.
It is.
But it's really, at its, in my opinion, at its core, in our line of work, club DJs, Tiestos, Calvin Harris's, they're about memories. They're about providing a service, playing a certain track at a certain time, giving an experience. So people have a memory and then go back for more. That's a restaurant. I had a great meal. I can't wait to come back. We're not that. We're about a relationship in the moment. And that relationship can expand into other people's lives by having people say, oh, you're getting married? Oh my God, Howie Darkstar was my DJ. Do you have a DJ? No, he was the best DJ ever. If you don't hire him, you are a fool. Well, I guess I'm hiring Howie Darkstar.
Right.
And that's based on your performance. But I guarantee, and I'll prove it, it's based on the relationship because I've got reviews that say the dance floor was full all night. We partied so hard. And I'm like, what wedding were you at? I was at that wedding. Sorry, Lori.
You don't have that memory.
I don't have that same memory. And I was the DJ. And I mean, I had some dancing and then a little more later.
It's okay. It's okay.
But that's the relationship. And it's the little moments because if you have a run-in with a guest who's putting a drink down or offers to help or offers to spin or does whatever, that eventually gets back to the bride and groom and it gets back to them in the way of the, telephone game. It doesn't get back the way it happened. It gets back with, your DJ's jerk told me not to drink near him. What? Are you serious? Yeah, got an attitude, Mr. High and Mighty over there. That's what they hear. And if everyone's been drinking, I mean, I'm drinking water. Sure. This is just water, of course. So I don't know about this alcohol thing, but I've heard it does change your perception.
Well, that's why I swear by that. Well, you guys used it at Beret in Atlantic City last year. We'll use it again this year. A 6-foot table. That thing will have 3 panels and go right down the side and cover that whole 6-foot table. And to me, nothing's going to get said on that.
No.
Unless I do it.
Doesn't hate that it's a room full of DJs either. And we all know that.
Yeah, I gotta admit. Well, we could be DJing on like soft furniture and it still wouldn't be an issue with those people because they were just, the crowd is like, it's the best crowd when you have DJs or it's the worst crowd.
So, John, do you have anything you might want to add before I ask you to help me carry Jay out to my truck?
Do we have to put him in a certain Tetris corner, or will he not fit if we put him in sideways?
I've slept as I've told my children who have complained about certain things, and I've said, "Hey, I've slept in bathtubs when I was in college a couple times."
Oh,
I didn't tell the prequel of because I ended up in some dorm room somewhere, and there was a bathroom, and there was a bathtub, and it looked like a bed. But I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Well, I can sleep anywhere.
Is it
Front
Norwegian
lawn, back lawn, sidewalk, anything near. If you just tell me we're near Northeastern, I'll lie down and sleep. I'm fine.
Alrighty, John, why don't you take us out tonight?
Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching, hanging out with Howie. Thank you, Howie. Thank you, Jay. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.
Good night, all.
Good night, guys.